Welcome to My Long Island TV. From Manhasset to Montauk, we have traveled our communities to bring you the following events. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. My Long Island TV starts now.
Welcome to the Heckscher Museum of Art, and this exhibition is a show on realism by American and European artists of the 19th and 20th century. It is drawn exclusively from works in our permanent collection and shows the breadth and wealth of our collection. Traditionally, artists studied at art academies, and the art academies had a very strict hierarchy of subject matter. And at the top of this hierarchy was history painting, biblical scenes, mythological scenes, scenes from mythology or literature. And landscape painting was down at the bottom, and nobody painted scenes from contemporary life. Daniel Ridgway Knight, and he was wildly successful both in France and in America. He presents a very idealized view of rural life, but with extraordinary skill, and his works look like photographs. That is by a French artist named Antoine Volon. And he is actually more known for his still life painting. His portraiture is rather rare, but you can see in this work how he was inspired by the 17th century Dutch and Spanish painters. Chase reveled in painting fish, actually, and claimed that you proved your artistic worth in how well you painted. It didn't matter what you painted, it was the technical skill with which you approached the painting. I mean, next to it we have a still life by a French artist that would be more traditional and have shows as a floral still life. John Rogers was the most popular sculptor in America in the mid-19th century. He was trained in a neoclassical mode, which would have been idealized figures in marble. That was what artists, sculptors were doing at the time, and that didn't really interest him. This is the same period, or a little bit earlier than Currier and Ives prints, which were so popular, and the themes are very similar as to Norman Rockwell. Very sentimental themes, often of rural character or small town America character. This particular one was the most popular, and there were 5,000 replicas of it made. This is the second gallery of the exhibition. It focuses on the 20th century. So we have moved in this gallery from the countryside into the city, which mirrors what was happening in America and in Europe at the same time, that people were leaving the countryside with industrialization. We have basically two walls of photorealist works, still lives. The photorealists were especially interested in reflections of store windows and that sort of thing. Reflections obscure actually being able to see through the window, and so it raises issues of transparency and that sort of thing. This work behind me is by an artist named Marjorie Caggiano. She paints a light bulb and is remarkable for the shadows that you see cast by the light bulb and by the wires. This work is of interest because you barely notice the figures that are in the work at first. The machinery is so dominant in the left side of the painting, and only afterwards do you see on the right side of the painting that the figures that are there. And so this would be a work about industrialization, the relationship of man to industry, and how ultimately, despite how large the machinery is, it's all dependent on man. This work by Stephen Posen would appear to be a photorealist work, but this work actually was painted from life. He attached boxes to the wall of his studio and covered it with black fabric and painted from life. And then the last work on the wall is by Par Sarkissian, and this work would, at first glance, appear to be a trash can and a broomstick, but when you when you look. It actually is not. It's an image of a trash can and broomstick, which you can see by the tape holding down the corners and the shadows where the paper is raised from the surface on which it sits. Mirrored images, realism in the 19th and 20th centuries, is up from now until March 24th. The museum is open Wednesday through Friday from 10 to 4 and on the weekends from 11 till 5.